Hi everyone, Jenna here. Thank you so much for joining us. What makes trying to conceive so challenging is that everyone is different. And that's why we're such proponents of getting tested with the Million Marker Detect and Detox kit, because testing is the only way for you to know exact level of your toxic chemical exposures, pinpoint what's causing them, and then eliminate these items. The process is going to look very different for everyone, the same as for fertility. And this is why we're so excited today to be joined by our today's guest, Kela Robinson Smith, founder of the Hormone Puzzle Method, to unlock the secret to a healthy pregnancy. And Coach Kela is the CEO and the program director of the Hormone Puzzle Society, a women's health hub for fertility, hormones, and pregnancy. And Coach Kayla actually holds many different qualifications, including board certified integrative holistic health and wellness coach, as well as functional nutritionist. So, good. Thank you so much for joining us. No
Yeah,
today, so I'm so glad.
exactly. I love it.
So tell us, I did a little bit intro already. So tell us a little bit about your background and why you became a fertility specialist.
Sure. So it all started with my own personal journey with infertility. My husband and I got married. We thought it would be really easy to get pregnant. You're told your whole life if you have sex, you get pregnant. We quickly learned that was not the case for us, and it was not going to be that easy. So we ended up going to our doctor like many people do. We ran a bunch of tests and ended up with the diagnosis of unexplained infertility. They couldn't find anything wrong with me. They told me because I was 36 at the time that in order to get pregnant, only because of my age, that I would need to do either IUI. If that didn't work, I would need to do IVF. And so that just didn't really sit well with me because I was like, okay, there's nothing medically wrong with me. Like my body should be able to do this naturally. I wasn't going to take that age was my only factor. So my husband and I, talked about it, we prayed about it, and we decided to kind of take our fertility into our own hands. We knew IVF would be there if we needed it, but we didn't want to start there. We wanted it in there if we needed it. So we took a year. We were like, let's do whatever we can to get as fertile as possible, and with diet, lifestyle, supplements, mindsets. And so that's what we ended up doing. I ended up getting pregnant naturally and had my first at 37. Took us about 6 months to really optimize things. So we did that. I got pregnant at 37, and then I did it again at 40. And then, so those little boys are now 6 and 8. And at 40 years old, with a newborn and a 2-year-old, I decided I wanted to go back to school and focus in on this. And, I wasn't happy with the support I got with Western medicine. And so I was like, if that happened to me, I'm sure it happens to many people. And so I went back to school and I got quadruple certified with, like you said earlier, board certified holistic health and wellness coaching. My specialties were fertility, hormones, and pregnancy. I have since gone back again and gotten my functional nutrition certification, as well as I'm in the process of becoming a board certified, getting my PhD in natural and holistic medicine. So about 6 months, I will be Dr. Kayla.
Wow.
So yeah, it's
Okay.
been quite the journey.
We're gonna have to celebrate that.
Yes. Hawaii.
We,
So I told my husband,
oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. Sorry. I was just saying we're going to go to Hawaii so I can walk the stage when I graduate. You still hear me? Yeah.
This is so exciting.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been quite the journey.
This is awesome. This is awesome and really powerful story.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, we see you do lab work, which we love. And
Yes.
how important is it to get the facts, before working with someone to meet their health goals?
Yeah, so I think getting tested is really important. One of our philosophies is test, don't guess. And so I feel data is really powerful. So instead of just shooting in the dark about what, I think this is going to work or that's going to work, let's look and see what your body's actually doing and get that data. So what we do is a couple different tests. We do an at-home dried urine test, similar to Dutch testing, but a little more comprehensive, where we look at all the fertility hormones, how they're being, how they're made, your levels, but also how they're being metabolized, detoxed, and excreted through your system. we don't want to see just what the levels are. We want to know how your body's actually using them. So it's a little more comprehensive than blood and gives us a lot of data. And then we also do hair mineral analysis, which will show food sensitivities. It'll show mineral deficiencies. It'll show toxins. You know, if you have a toxic overload, which many of us do, like, as you know, with mercury, lead, arsenic even. So getting that testing done, I feel, is really valuable information. And then sometimes we can see, okay, this is causing the infertility or that. And then we have a place to start with treatment.
Right. So how did you decide to start putting unique program together for people to improve their, whether health, fertility, and pregnancy?
Yeah, so it came out of, like I was saying earlier, my own struggle with infertility. And I felt like I wasn't getting what I needed from Western medicine. Like, they never talked to me about, one, tracking my cycle, looking and seeing if I'm actually ovulating, what I'm eating, what does my lifestyle look like, how much stress am I under, how much toxin overload do I have? Like, none of that was discussed with me. And I feel like it's a missing piece in the fertility journey. And so that's what I put together with my programs. We say mind, body, spirit. We work on physical, mental, emotional, and kind of pull it all in together. So you have optimal health, but then that relates to optimal fertility and optimal hormones.
Right. I also love the acronym that you put together, which is the puzzle method. So
Yes.
what does it stands for?
Yes. So the hormone puzzle was a way for me to feel like I had some control. I felt my infertility journey, like a lot of people I'm sure feel, I was very out of control. I felt like a lot of stuff was happening to me instead of, I was an active participant in that. So I wanted a way really easy, what I could do every single day to optimize my fertility and take back some of my control. And now this is the same method that I use with my clients so they feel in control. But puzzle, I love acronyms. So puzzle's an acronym, and it stands for P, proper whole food nutrition, U, understanding supplements, Z, zapping stress, Z or Z's, which is sleep. L is love and encouragement. E is exercise and environment. So those are all the things that I try to work on every day in my life. It was what I did while I was trying to get pregnant, as well as now, just to be as healthy as I possibly can be.
I love it. I love it. Break it down each like a component.
Yeah.
So what is proper nutrition to you?
Yes. So I don't prescribe to any diet or, any of the fad diets that are out there right now. Proper whole food nutrition means eating as close to the earth as possible. So it's whole food, balanced nutrition, lots of vegetables, lots of organic vegetables, lean meats if you're not a vegetarian or vegan. And we could do a whole show about that. I recommend meat because it's the only way you can get your heme iron. But so the protein can be, plant or animal. Lots of healthy fats, just eating what nature has given us and what they have made, staying away from processed foods or, hydrogenated oils and the sugars and the fast food, and just stay away from all of that. And I always say it's not about what you can't have, it's what you can have. And there's so many delicious foods from nature that we can eat and have abundance and live a healthy lifestyle. So that's where the proper whole food nutrition comes in.
Love it. So what about the next component, supplements? So how does a person choose the right supplement for themselves?
Yes. So this is a big one. I get this question a lot. So that's why I named it Understanding Supplements. Because one, you have to understand what the supplements are that you need. And then two, understanding just supplements in general. And I feel like a lot of people are taking things that they don't need to be taking. And a lot of people are not taking the ones that they do need. So I recommend working with a qualified person to kind of look at, what does your diet look like? What does your lifestyle look like? What is your diagnoses? And base your supplements around that. Don't ever take something or eliminate something just because you read it on Facebook or like your best friend or your cousin or whoever's doing it. But that being said, there is a few supplements that I recommend for pretty much everyone. And so one, and obviously check with your healthcare practitioner before you add any supplements, but these are what works for most. But get permission, run it by them first. So one is a really good whole food prenatal or multivitamin. And the reason I say whole food is because we want it to be bioavailable for our body. That means our body sees it as food and it knows what to do with it. It uses it. So you're getting to use the supplement that you're paying for. And the reason I recommend that for pretty much everyone is because our food supply is so diminished. It's full of toxins. It's full of just this ingredients that we don't like. Even if you're eating whole food, it's just the state of the world that we're in. So, and the quantity of food that you would have to eat to get every vitamin and mineral that you can get through supplementation, you just wouldn't be able to do it. So having a whole food diet plus a whole food supplement kind of fills in all the gaps and all the holes. So that's the first one. And then the second one is a probiotic. Everybody's guts are, just 95%, if not 100% of people have poor gut health. Again, it comes back to the way we live our lives, the stress, the sleep, all of these things that we're under. So whole food or a really good probiotic is important for gut health. Yeah. So those two are the ones for pretty much everybody. And then based around what you're struggling with, usually there'll be a few more to sprinkle in, but it will depend on your individual person and your diagnosis.
Great tips. Yeah. So now, when it comes to stress, what are some helpful ways for everyone to zap stress?
Yes. So stress is a big one. And a lot of people don't realize this, but your body's main job is to keep you alive. And so if you are under stress, whether that is chronic stress, you're stressed at work, or stressed about fertility, you're stressed with your relationship, or acute stress, you've had an illness, injury, surgery, something where you've got this stressful situation, you're eating foods that are not agreeing with you, you have food sensitivities. So this is all stress to the body. And the body, again, main role is to keep you alive. So it's going to pause other systems that aren't vital to survival. So that means your digestion is paused, your fertility is paused. We're not going to make a baby if we think we're being chased by a lion. So you really want to get that stress under control. And my favorite way, and you can roll your eyes. Some people roll their eyes when I say this, but my favorite stress management is meditation. I feel like so many of us are in this go, go, go. We never stop. We never are quiet. We never just sit in our feminine energy and relax. So even if that's 10 minutes a day where you sit and you do nothing but deep breathe, that's a great place to start. I meditate for at least 30 to 45 minutes every day because I'm type A and I go like 90 to 100, as you can see. So to sit and quiet my brain, it's just such a big benefit. And what happens is the neurons in your brain will start to wire together that you are calm and relaxed. Your nervous system starts to calm, your stress response, your cortisol is lowered. And so everything is just a calmer environment. And then your body's like, hey, I'm calm. It's time to have a baby. So that's one piece. The other is breathing. I feel like so many of us forget how to breathe.
Right.
If you look at how a baby breathes, like really deep and their bellies are moving up and down, that's how we're supposed to breathe. We breathe in our chest, which is really short and really like stressful. So just take a few minutes throughout your day and just do 10 or 15 like diaphragmatic breathing where you're making that belly go up and down and that breath is kind of going through and within you. What that does too is it's a really fun trick. It tricks your central nervous system into thinking you're calm and relaxed when maybe you're like stuck in traffic or your boss is yelling at you, but your body's like, hey, I'm calm, I'm breathing calm and I'm getting oxygen, so it must be calm. So again, it turns on those digestion, that rest and digest, that fertility, all of it.
I feel like I need to do that. Thinking about your belly instead of just your chest. That's a really good way of thinking about breathing.
Yep, cool. Exactly. Watch your babies. Watch those little bellies move. It reminds us how it should be.
Yeah. So now, when it comes to sleep, how can what's the best tip for a person to get enough sleep? And then, is there any difference between a person who's trying to conceive versus who's pregnant?
So I recommend at least 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night. And that sounds like a lot, but sleep is probably one of the most important things you can do other than eat and fuel your body. So during sleep, we are detoxing, we are rejuvenating our cells, we're renewing, we are just like giving our body time to rest and relax. And so getting that high quality sleep is super important, but listen to your body. When you're pregnant, you might feel extra tired and you might feel like you need extra sleep. So maybe you're closer to that 9 or 10 hour mark. Whereas, when you're trying to conceive, maybe you feel good at 7 or 8 hours. It's really about knowing your body and knowing how much sleep you need. And I recommend for sleep where you treat your sleep, and I call it sleep hygiene. So this is treating your sleep environments where your room that you sleep in is cool, dark, calm, free of distractions. You do something called a power down hour, which means you go in your room about 30 minutes to an hour before you're actually ready to sleep. Maybe you read a book, you do some meditation, you do some deep breathing, and you lull yourself in from work mode to sleep mode. I feel like so many of us go, 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 and then we lay down and we're like, okay, time to sleep. Your body's like, what are you talking about? I just like ran marathon. It's not going to happen. So give yourself time to relax and get ready for sleep, and have a routine where you're going to bed and waking up at the same time day and night. So that sets your circadian rhythm and will allow you to sleep. Oh, and one more point on sleep. Make sure you take out the blue lights. The blue lights are probably the biggest contributor to people not being able to sleep, because it activates your pineal gland, your third eye, which is right here. That tells your body it's time to wake up. It makes serotonin. When we're trying to sleep, we want it making melatonin. So that means make your room as dark as possible and get the blue lights out. Yeah.
Right. And also leave your cell phone out, because the blue light in a cell phone, I know a lot of people like play with their phone before they go to sleep. That's like bad sleep hygiene.
Yep. Exactly. I always put all your electronics in your kitchen for charging, your Apple Watch, your phone, your computer, whatever it is, and just and that also will get the dirty electricity out of your bedroom as well. So we don't want that. We don't want the blue lights.
Right.
Yeah.
So now when it comes to love and encouragement, which is the next phase,
yes.
is this the couple's responsibility, or this is also considering about, self-love and self-care?
Yes, it's both. So it's self-love and encouragement for yourself. So it's really, getting away from all of that negative thinking, those thoughts, beliefs, old trauma, really loving yourself, saying kind things to yourself. Your body cells hear everything you say to it. So the more you can love yourself and admire yourself and be grateful, the more your body's going to hear that, and it's going to wire those neurons together. So you're going to be happier and a more well-rounded person. Same for love and encouragement with your partner, your husband, your friends and family, having a supportive community around you, and really focusing on that bonding with your husband, especially if you're trying to bring a baby and you're trying to get pregnant. You want that bond to be really strong. So taking time for that. Marriage is hard. So give yourself time to nurture that relationship. And I always tell people, go on a date, have a lot of fun, have some joy. Come home and have sex because you want to have sex, not because you're ovulating. And then, that lowers your stress and helps with sleep and all of it. So yeah.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. So the last one, how should exercise different for, someone who's trying to conceive versus being pregnant?
Yeah, so I recommend cycle optimizing your exercise. And so this will be if you're actively having a cycle. So this would be during your luteal phase, which is the 2 weeks before your period and the week of your period. Your hormones are pretty low, so your energy is usually low. So this is when it's time to kind of turn down the intensity. You want to do more walking, yoga, tai chi, stretching, deep breathing, those types of things, light weights if you do weights. And so really working with your hormones so you're not working against them. But then in follicular and ovulatory, when your hormones are rising and high, you can do more harder workouts. You can do the spin class. You can do the marathons. You can do the boot camps. That's when your senses aren't on high alert, so you can handle some of those harder workouts, as well as you can work with your hormones. So you have the energy, you're stronger, you're, more wanting to be out and about because you've got those hormones working for you. So that's the time to do that. So that's when you're cycling. During pregnancy, it's all about listening to your body. You want movement, but you don't want, if you're not a marathon runner, don't start running marathons when you get pregnant. If you are a marathon runner, then your body's used to that and you can probably still do it. So really just kind of pay attention to what you were currently doing and listen to your energy, and, if it hurts, don't do it. But it all depends on what you were doing before. If you weren't working out at all before pregnancy, I wouldn't start anything crazy hard, but walking is always fine. You can always stretch. There's a lot of great yoga for pregnancy that you can do. Fertile Hope Yoga, they do some pregnancy yoga. So take it easy, listen to your body. I worked out the entire time with both of my pregnancies, but I worked out my entire life. So I would just kind of listen to my energy, see how good I felt, and go from there. So yeah.
Yeah, I love it. Thinking about your cycle and then exercise accordingly, because this is the never really talk about. People just like,
Right.
okay, do this all the time. But as
Mm.
women should be thinking about their cycle and then, adjust
Mhm.
energy level and as well as exercise level accordingly.
Exactly. And we're cyclical. We're not, men have a 24-hour hormone cycle. We have a 28 to 30 day hormone cycle. We're cyclical. So we should not do the same thing our partners are doing, with workouts. So I see these women that are like doing CrossFit 7 days a week. And I'm like, no, no, we got to pull that back. And sometimes it's nice to have permission that you don't have to do that. It's so crazy. I'll have clients that are like, I'm working out less than I ever have. I'm eating more delicious food. I'm losing weight. It's like a win-win.
Love
So
it.
yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
So now the last one, what are some environmental factors the person should consider?
Yeah, so this one comes down to your outer environment. So, what you're putting on and around your body. So, paying attention to any toxins that you have. So, this would be your beauty products, your cleaning products, your laundry detergent, dish detergent, all of that stuff. So, really try to live as non toxic as you can. And I always tell people don't go out tomorrow and try to throw out every single thing that you're using because that'd be way too expensive and way too overwhelming. But just as you run out of things, say, okay, is this toxic or not? Let me see if there's a better option. And there's so many good non-toxic things right now. I mean, even like 5 years ago, it was awful. You could not find good beauty products that were non-toxic. But now it's almost like non-toxic is better than the toxins. So just kind of switching that out. But then it's also your inner environment. So, what is your thoughts, feelings, beliefs? Do you have any old trauma, old wounds, old belief systems? Try to recognize that and start to process that and work through it and clear it out. So, those old patterns are not serving you. And so, it's really good and important to kind of recognize that and start to clear, which is a continuous process. Again, you're not going to go out tomorrow and be like, I'm going to release everything that happened to me when I was a child. But starting that process sooner rather than later is important.
Wow,
Yeah.
this is a
Mhm.
really great framework for people to think about all the things that they need to do, but in a
Yeah,
really like digestible way. Love it.
for sure.
So, what
Thanks.
does like a coaching session with you look like?
Yeah, so we start everybody with an intake form and call. So you would book a call with us, and we'll tell you guys how to do that after this is over. But so you book a call with us, you fill out our short intake form. We kind of see what's going on with you. Then we get on a call to talk about your story and show you how what we do here is different and see if what we do might be your next best step. And then if you decide to work with us, we have a couple different programs, but most of them are 12 weeks, depending on what you need. Some are self-study, some are one-on-one coaching. But this is when we would dive into, okay, this is in the beginning, we have you fill out a really in-depth health questionnaire. So past, present, future, mind, body, spirit. We kind of look at everything that's going on with you. Then we recommend testing if we feel like that's what you need. And then between all of that data, we put together a customized plan for you. So it's definitely working on the physical piece, but also the mental and emotional piece. And so again, mind, body, spirit, so that you're optimized, your fertility is optimized, your hormones are optimized, and you can get pregnant if that's your goal, or not or, but and you can live as healthy a lifestyle as possible.
Love it. So, I
Mhm.
know you have a podcast because I've been on
I
it.
do.
So tell us
Yes.
about the podcast, what kind of topic, and then, where can people find it?
Yeah, for sure. So it's called the Hormone Puzzle Podcast. It's everywhere podcasts are heard. So your favorite platform. So we're on Apple, Spotify, Stitcher. It's on my website, coachkela.com. And on the podcast, it's for education, inspiration, and hope. So we have tons of different experts on there talking about a variety of topics, all related to holistic health, women's health, men's health. We talk about hormones, we talk about periods, we talk about fertility. So it's just a really fun show, and we've had some amazing experts. We're in our third season, so we've had almost 200 episodes. So it's a really great listen. Yeah.
Love it. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
Wow. These are such great information. So thank you so much for joining us. And
Yeah.
then everyone be sure to follow Kela at Kela_health coach. And then you can also learn more about Kayla's program by clicking our LinkedIn bio. We'll have the website and everything, all the info right there.
Perfect. Perfect. Oh,
So
Jenna, thank you so much.
thank you. Thank you. Have a
Okay.
good one.
You
Bye.
too. Thanks, everybody. Bye.